Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea Utek, expat and speculative fiction writer. It has been a very long time since I made any sort of video whatsoever. If you've seen any of my other videos, you might notice that this looks a little bit different. This is also probably not where I want to film all the time in the future, but if it's not clear by the bubble wrap still sitting behind me, we are still in the process of unpacking. But I have some somewhat exciting news, is that I have finished editing and properly writing all of my previous novel. I say previous because I want to start these vlogs to catalog my journey in writing the next novel. I had this idea midway through writing this last one that it would be interesting to follow my progress from blank page to shelf, be that a bookshelf one day, which would be an absolute dream come true, or this metaphorical shelf where we put our novels where they go to die. I should say it a little bit more positively, where they go to wait for, I don't know, some imaginary future. But I'm starting that process now, and so I really would like to have some vlogs that help me go through this process, maybe keep me a little bit accountable, but also hopefully are somewhat interesting to you guys as well, to see what the process looks like for somebody starting once again from zero. This will not be my first novel I've written. I wrote one back in, I guess my first draft was finished in 2019, right before the pandemic. And this one I just finished, oh my goodness. The idea came to me December 2019, and it's now out to beta readers in 2023, in the middle of 2023. So a lot of things have changed since then. I have a different job. I'm now teaching full-time online. I have a toddler, and I'm also 6 months pregnant. So I don't know exactly what this will look like, but I want to share it with you guys and keep myself a little bit accountable. Join me on this writing vlog and on this adventure going from blank page to shelf. It is now a little bit later in the afternoon. I finished a bit of work. I'll actually close this computer now. And got my son home. And before my meetings start in a little bit more than an hour, I wanted to get some work on this brand new book done. Outlining and just preparing is a really hard process for me, and if you go back and see a video where I was like re-outlining my last one, that's what ends up happening, is I end up re-outlining it a million times. However, one of the things that I don't enjoy about the writing process is realizing, 10,000 words deep into exposition that I don't know the point. I know the setting, I know my characters, so I'm going to do some warm-up exercises that I've found useful. I've really found useful last time, and that is I'm going to write my query letter for this novel that I have not written yet. And yes, this is not going to be the query letter that I end up using in the long run. Certainly the novel will go a different direction, as it always does with my outlines as well, but I really like this because it forces me to say what the point of my novel is. What's the hook? What's interesting about the characters? And really, what's the point? What's the conflict? Because there's always conflict in my novels, but then it ends up being too much, and I feel like my stories end up being too big, if that makes sense. I was told not everything needs to be world-changing revolution. So what I'm going to do, it's kind of nice, I think, to put away my computer, and I'm going to just write by hand. here's the blank page that was promised. I'm going to write by hand this query letter, and because query letters are very difficult for me to write, I'm going to follow back when I was querying 2 novels ago. It's 3 years old. I can't believe how much time has passed. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write this query letter, and that's my goal before my meetings begin. So, got the baby monitor, got my iced coffee, got these great snacks that a former student and my husband's current student brought us from Iran to get the creative juices flowing, and yeah, here I go. All right, so I do have my first not blank page related to this novel, which feels good, and it's nice to challenge myself to decide what the major plot point is and to not have too many plot points. So I would never send this to an agent. This is not clean, but it does allow me to then go through and find what conflict I want to focus on. So I think before I allow myself to start drafting anything, I'm going to make sure to outline a little bit. So I'm just gonna set my phone aside and do that for a little bit, and then start work and check in soon. It is Wednesday. It's been really hard to get started today. We had a storm last night that apparently flooded Tbilisi's river, flooded the city. Our power was out from about 10:30 last night until 5 a.m. this morning. I do think it came on sometime in the middle of the night because I remember not being so miserably hot because it didn't really cool it down much last night. So I think everyone slept kind of poorly, and then this morning was really hard to get started. Just showered and it's like 10:30 in the morning. Yesterday I feel pretty good. After my query sort of practice round, I did outline using a mix of the hero's journey and story beats, which is kind of my go-to. I really like story beats for the first act, but I do prefer a lot of the stuff in hero's journey for act 2. But it's enough that I feel like I know the main conflict, I know where things are going, which is great because I'm really antsy to actually do some writing. I don't know why, but I don't feel like writing on the computer. Maybe it's because I've been doing so much work on the computer, but I think I'm going to do some writing by hand. I have these great pens, but they kind of come in bold colors that are a little bit too much. So basically the purple's the only one that I'm willing to use for writing. That's a lot. Anyway, time to set that timer, finish my coffee, and then get back to work. Our school year officially starts on Monday. Our summer school just finished, so we only have this week in between. So it's a really, really busy week as registrations roll in. So it's important to me to sneak in this writing time. So I'll go do that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so 20 minutes and I filled 2 notebook pages, so it's not nothing. I did find that this opening scene deals with somebody defending their dissertation, and I don't know what that looks like. I hope to find some more time to write this evening, but these are my first words for my new novel, and it feels pretty good to be writing something new since I've been editing my other one for so long. So, see you later. I had higher hopes for today, and it's midday, but I had my glucose test, and I knew I was going to be sick, and I sure am. So now I'm just kind of taking up space on the couch, waiting for the nausea to pass now that I've been able to eat. I had to fast for a long time, so hopefully I'll find some energy to get some work, some writing done later, but for now, I'm just watching Netflix. Man, I was watching like a writing vlog for inspiration. I think my desk is supposed to be cuter than this. Everything's been just a hot mess. Oh, and look at that atrocious wall. Georgia and its wallpaper. Yeah, I didn't end up writing at all, and I really didn't end up doing much work at all either. So Today has been playing catch up. I need to leave in half an hour again. The day just goes so quickly. So I'm gonna just give myself 20 minutes of writing. I don't feel particularly inspired right now. I think I'm still just drained from yesterday taking that really unpleasant test, but also drained from trying to catch up from yesterday and all the things that I have going on. So eventually I'm going to need to type what I wrote day before yesterday, Wednesday now. And so I'm gonna just type that now, and usually once I am in the process of typing, I'll get inspired to write something else. So yeah, I guess these will be the first official words since I can actually count them once they're typed up. So I have a little over 500 words, so that's not nothing, but I did get distracted on a little bit of research because I don't know exactly how this scene is going to play out, but I mean, good research. It's been really challenging to, I don't know, to get back into writing. I didn't get much written after my last update, and I did hear back from my friend. It was super duper helpful, but my scene isn't quite right, quite accurate, or it'll be boring if it's accurate. It'll take too long. So I do think that I probably have to delete this and try one more time. This morning I got this suggested article that was different literary magazines that are opening, and I actually have a couple short stories that I should submit that I hadn't submitted in quite some time. And a lot of it was because many of my journals that I wanted to submit to were closed. So I'm going through that now and submitting some of those, and then I think we're gonna go on a walk this morning. I have so much work to do, but I'm really trying to prioritize writing. However, teaching is a little bit difficult because I have to be ready on Monday, you know. Now I just had the feeling yesterday like, well, this week has been a wash almost, you know, and I wish I had started this vlog next week, but maybe it's just a good reminder to push through a little bit. So yeah, off to submissions I go. Well, I feel pretty good. Let's see. Well, I should have counted before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 stories submitted this morning. And 3 more that have slightly later dates. So I will leave those on my bulletin board, which is on the ground right now, but will be up. It was nice to have, I mean, it took me 25 minutes to submit 9, which is, I don't think too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. It used to be a much slower process, but now when it's like author bio, perfect. I have my author bio already written. Cover letter, I'm like, okay, good. I have multiple cover letter options for each short story. So most of my submissions were from my most recent short story, which is kind of sad because the most recent short story is was written about a year ago now. So I need to take some time, make some time to write another one. I do have a couple that have been in my mind for some time. So, okay, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go on a walk, get some exercise, come back, get a little bit more ready for the day, and then get to work. It's maybe busier out here than we had planned for at this time of day. But actually things are open, so it looks like the cafe nearby is open. Spar is open. The bakery way down the street is open. So there's been pluses and minuses. Plus we made some friends. Well, I've been working for the past several hours, which always makes me really grumpy on a Saturday. But it looks like I've been forced into a break because our power's out. So I have no internet. Which, good until I start missing the AC. But I'm gonna sit down, get some iced coffee, and do some writing. Rewrite that whole first scene. So I'm starting at 0 once more. I feel like I got in the zone for like a hot second. And now I've got this guy. Who are you looking for?
Oh.
You want to go out?
No.
Yeah, he does. So it's probably 250 words because it's just the one notebook. Out? Yeah, he did go out. It's not nothing, but it's not very much. It's been a tough writing week this week for sure. Down. Okay, working on. Okay, it is now Sunday, and last night I was actually pretty productive. The power stayed out for over 2 hours, and toddler woke up almost immediately when I sat down to write, so I got very little done. But later on, I passed off baby duty and sat down and wrote for 40 minutes. And so after deleting everything, basically, I'm back up to 1,600 words, 1,601 words. I made sugar cookies with the tiny human. So I have my sugar cookie snack to give me sustenance through this writing process. It was mostly good. However, he got really excited because we rolled the sugar cookies into little balls, put them on the tray, loved it. Less loving of the squishing process. He's happy now that cookies have come out of the oven, but like to squish the balls and then throw them into the oven, he was not a fan. Anyway, I'm going to set my timer. I was looking for my phone, but it is right there. I'm going to set my timer and do 25 minutes of focused work time, which should be the amount of time that they will spend watching Elmo. Well, it's the end of the week. Actually, it's technically the start of the next week. It's Monday. It's my first day back with students. They've started today, and it's been a rough week. I was up really late making sure all my classes were properly prepared. There just wasn't really a gap between teaching summer school and then brand new curriculum starting the regular academic year. So I don't want to sit here and complain. I do feel like this week there have been things that I want to work on, and it wasn't so much about my writing. I found myself, wishing that I had just started this vlog next week when things were like better aligned, and that my desk looked better, and that the office looked better, and that just things were more ready. But maybe it was good that I was busy yesterday and I didn't wrap up this vlog idea, because this morning I'm in a much better headspace, and I was speaking to a friend actually when I went and I did 11 whole minutes of yoga, which just seems ridiculous, but I reminded myself, and I shared this idea with her as well, that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. So if it's worth doing, it's worth doing for 5 minutes, or it's worth doing with a messy desk, or it's worth doing even if you don't hit a word goal that you might set for yourself. So I'm happy I did it this week. It was a little bit of a hot mess. But I outlined, I wrote a little bit of a query starter to get me going. And I did some research, and I ended with 2,460 words. So it's not nothing. It's a lot. It's infinitely more than I started with, starting with a blank page. So I'm going to give myself credit for that. And I still have a long work day ahead of me, but maybe make some time this evening to sneak in a bit more writing and just keep working on building my writing practice back up before my world is upended with this other tiny human who's going to show up. So thanks for coming along on this adventure with me, and I'll see you next week.